We continue along this morning on the college basketball preview show. Glenn Clark and Patrick Stevens. And up next, he is the head coach at Coppin State. He's getting ready to open up the season at CFG Bank Arena when they take on the University of Maryland on November 3rd. He's Coach Larry Stewart, and he's back with us now here on the program. Coach, it's always great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Let me start right there, right? Like, what does this mean to you, to the entire program, to be involved with this event, the Hall of Fame event, to get the opportunity to kick off the season in this type of way?
Well, anytime you're invited to any type of event, it's a great opportunity, to number one showcase your team and also showcase your university. And so we're just very grateful for the opportunity to be able to, jumpstart the season in this Hall of Fame Classic down at the CFG Bank Arena, home right here in Baltimore, Baltimore City.
Coach, this team that you bring back, you guys were able to pick up a couple of wins late last season. We're going to go through some of the players, but give me a sense because I know we always talk about how difficult this job is and how unique Coppin is, and you, of course, know it better than anybody in the world. But when things aren't going your way, like how do you keep players invigorated? How do you keep that up and keep saying, "Hey, we just got to put in the work to know that things are going to start to turn around"?
I mean, you just have to be consistent. I mean, look, winning is not easy. It's hard for anybody, and so you just have to continue to work on the things that you are not good at, and you just have to be honest with them. And so you just you stay with the same message. You show them film, you break things down, and you say, hey, this is why we did this. This is why we did that, and you just try to keep them motivated as best you can.
There, it's Patrick Stevens. Good to talk to you again.
Yes.
I know we talked over the summer about how you had basically tapped into a lot of connections to kind of build this roster back up this year. Just how important was it to find guys that were familiar with people you were familiar with and those connections and kind of knowing guys a little bit more than maybe you would have otherwise just kind of coming in?
I mean, that helps out a lot, because like you said, I tapped into a lot of connections, guys who, I know they know the game of basketball, they know players, and so just was able to bring a group of guys in who all want to accomplish the same thing. That some of them are coming from some high major programs, and it just didn't work out. And so I was able to bring in a bunch of 14 guys who basically have a chip on their shoulder, and they're working towards one common goal.
Chatting with Larry Stewart, head coach at Coppin State, on the college basketball preview show. Coach, let's talk about a couple of those guys. One that comes back, and I know got all MEAC recognition. How important is
Yes.
it for you for Khalil Horton? How much of a leader has he been for this program, and how important is it for this program that maybe he takes that next step and maybe is a little bit more of an alpha this season?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important. It's crucial to us winning. It's crucial to this program. He's gone into his third year, so he kind of, understands the culture. He's been on the losing side the last 2 years, and so he's really, really looking forward to, being that leader and helping these guys understand, how important it is to bring it each and every day. How important it is to really buy into the culture, and just is looking for the opportunity to just win. He's coming off of he got hurt early on, so literally today is his first day back for the he twisted his ankle, and so he's been out for about 3 to 4 weeks, and so literally this was his first day back with a half court contact.
Larry, I know you've got a handful of guys, as you mentioned, that have some high major experience, guys like
Yes.
Faber Air, Elijah
Mhm.
Taylor, Tosh Tweet as well. Tell me a bit about those guys and just what sort of impact you think they can have getting another shot here at the D1 level.
Let's just, I'll start with Elijah Taylor. He won't play this year.
Okay.
He will have to do a year of residency. And so, but I still felt that it was important to bring on someone like him because, again, he's coming from a high major program and he's just been a great voice, a great leader. even though he can't play, he can practice and do all those things. And so he's just been a tremendous help with just, again, it's the little things that win and lose you the games. And so he's just been a tremendous help. One of the little things that, go gets overlooked so often is just talking. And so he's been a great communicator in practice for us and just been a great leader. Favor is coming really off of a knee injury. So he had reconstructive knee surgery last year. And so I've been kind of like limiting him, just so that we can get him his strength. He's been doing a lot more PT and treatment, practicing every other day, just on that regimen because, trying to get him to understand, we need him in November. And so, but again, he's long. He understands the game. Again, a great communicator, and just been a great teammate so far. And then Taj, again, he coming from another guy who just has a huge chip on his shoulder. He started off at I think West Virginia, then he went to Temple, and then last year he played at a Division two program and had a really really good year. And so he's looking forward to this opportunity. He's just been great. He's been our most consistent guy, I would say, so far. Just brings a lot of energy, and just have to get him to lock in just a little bit more mentally on some things. And so just looking forward to these three guys just helping us try to get over that hump this year.
Larry, we always like to talk about the local kids on your roster. And I know Cameron Sparrow was a big part of what you guys did a year ago. Is he someone that you can envision maybe being even more involved in sort of growing into an even bigger role this year? And then would also love to get to know Josiah Brown out of Edmondson, who I know came in from JUCO, and what he might bring to the table for your team.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Cameron's, again, he's going into his third year in the program. He understands, what we are looking for, and I'm just expecting, huge things out of him this year. He's been around all summer long, just been, trying to be a better leader, being more vocal, and just basically trying to take charge of things, when things get out of array. And so, just looking forward to. I mean, he has no choice. It's his third year, and so he's a pretty good, solid basketball player. He's a guy who can, do a little bit of everything out there on the court. And so just looking forward to getting started with him and get him off to a good start. Josiah Brown, he's more of I would say, I hate using the term of garbage man, but he's a guy who can, looking for him to be a good defensive guy. Can guard multiple positions, a rebounder, just that guy who can go out there and do all the little dirty things for you.
Larry, I know even going back to your playing days that Coppin had a history of basically being barnstormers, going anywhere and everywhere in non-conference play.
Yes,
And I know you've
yes,
got a tough schedule, but you managed to make it so I think you only have to get on a plane once this season
yes.
for that trip down to South Florida. How important for wear and tear was that, you think, on you guys to be able to frame the schedule that way?
Oh, absolutely. It's huge. The bottom line is, these guys are not built for it tough like we were. And so you have to take all of those things into consideration. And so the things that we were able to do, this generation just would not be able to do. And so I felt it very, very important to, give them good competition, but kind of like, we looked in a 5 hour, bus radius. And I always like to take them, at least one or two places where they possibly haven't been to. And so I thought that going down to Tampa and playing in the NTE would be a great opportunity for those guys. And so, but yeah, you have to be very mindful of those things now, because they're just built it just a little bit different. And so, I think we have a very, very tough schedule, but a very good schedule. And so, gives us some opportunity going against a great competition and, just to see where we at.
Is that something that you noticed that was wearing on these guys as you got into conference play? That you felt like, you know,
Well, I mean, these last 2 years, injuries played a part in it.
sure.
At one point, my first year, we was playing with 8 or 9 guys, and so, last year ran into the same problem. One guy would go down as soon as he come back, two more guys would go out, and so, Just felt that I had to get a little bit more depth this year, and so we have 17 people on the roster this year, and so that can play various positions, and so just trying to do things just a little bit different so that we can be fully prepared come November 3rd.
We remember last year you were burning sage this time, trying to get some better injury luck at that
That
point.
that that ain't changed. I just had to get a different piece of sage. That's all.
Hey, can I guess that you are not at all I know you probably don't want to say anything nice about anything Maryland related right now because you're getting ready to play them, but your nephew, can I assume that you're not remotely surprised by the amount of success that he is having this early on in his career?
No, and I'm not. It's two different sports. It's the same school, but two different sports. So I'm happy for Maryland football team. I think that they have um, some great talent, some great young talent. I'm not surprised by my nephew. He's put in the work. He's dedicated to his craft, and he's on a mission to help bring that turf program back to to some glory days. And so. Not surprised at all because it's just how just the type of young man that he's is.
Oh, he's special. There's no doubt about it. Did you guys
Yes,
ever try to push him to maybe go more towards basketball? Like, was that within the
I think.
family?
No, I think he played basketball very early on and young, but I just think that as soon as he put that helmet on for the first time, it was already determined what path he was going to go down.
Now, have you asked him about who he's going to be rooting for in the season
Oh, he already
opener?
set the terp, so that's
Yeah,
yeah, he already
wor-
set the
wor-
terps.
worth
So
worth the shot for sure.
yeah, he
Ca-
he let that be known early.
Hey, understand that's where he is. That's the way that it
Yes,
works. Of course, those that don't know, we're talking about Sidney Stewart, who it feels like has had a sack in every game he's played so far. He is the
yeah,
real deal. Coppin State again opens things up in Baltimore. Great opportunity for you. It's not just obviously Coppin State, Maryland. We're talking all morning. It's a great night for local basketball fans to come out and
absolutely.
celebrate the start of the season with a tremendous doubleheader on November the 3rd. They won't be home for a little while, not until November 18th against Central Penn. Your first chance to see them at the C-Spec. Coach, always appreciate you taking the time for us. Look forward to checking in with you during the course of the season. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on. You have a great day.